can AI write poetry?
It can generate poetry, it cannot write it. And I'm using these terms loosely, okay? Loosely. There's a difference between creating poetry and generating poetry, okay? The creative writer, the individual, is the person who creates poetry. You can give prompts to AI and then get AI to generate the poem through the prompts. But you cannot, in all fairness, lay claim to the artistry that has produced the poem. Okay? So, the AI machine cannot be a poet. It is the individual that will be a good or a bad poet. And if the individual does not have confidence in his or her ability and relies on the capacity of the machine to generate a poem, then that individual does not have any business with that cultural space. That individual is a fraud.
That's a very powerful term to use. Now, in having said that, we had the scandal, the Commonwealth scandal. What's your take? I mean, people being accused of writing stories using AI in a way that did not even say, hey, somebody thought about writing this in that sense. That's the way people were perceiving it. What's your take on that?
It's a kind of scandal that should not befall any cultural or intellectual institution. It should not. It should not at all. Because you see, people make a lot of investment, time, intellect, money, even reputation, goodwill. A lot goes into building a cultural platform like the one that you've mentioned. And over the years, and then something happened, and all of a sudden it seems that the reputation is cracking and crashing because of maybe one act of indiscretion or misrepresentation and all that. It's not a place where any organization should be. And because the truth is that the Commonwealth prizes are very important. Many writers in the world had built their reputation on their success on that platform. And for you to have that kind of scandal befalling an institution like that is something that should worry all of us. There's been a pushback by the Commonwealth Foundation.
Definitely.
And they've made their case, they've made their investigations and stuff like that, and they've made their pronouncement in a way that they believe is sufficient and significant enough to protect their integrity. But the bigger lesson from it is that almost all cultural institutions are now vulnerable now. And they will need to exercise a greater deal of vigilance. If you're a prize administrator in the field of literature, you have to exercise greater gatekeeping, greater vigilance, because that is a signal that things can go wrong, that an individual can pass a machine-generated piece and you can award a prize to it, and then maybe tomorrow it's discovered and it becomes a thing of embarrassment to you. It's like people, athletes who win medals or trophies under the influence of drugs, performance-enhancing drugs. And after all the euphoria and celebration and national honor and national pride and all that, a certain test is done, and all of a sudden, national acclaim and national pride and everything begins to crash down. So the failure at this point, or the shame or the embarrassment, is not that of the individual alone. It becomes institutional, it becomes national. There are a whole lot of entities that are involved in the protection of our cultural space. So every group that is awarding a prize now, a literary prize now, has to invest in the processes that will enable them check. There's also technology for all these checks.
But again, the question then becomes, when technology checks technology, what is that about?
But the truth is that you can't leave it to the subjectivity of human taste. If it's a piece that is generated by a machine, for you to have a measure of precision in determining that, you also need the help of technology, the kind of technology that can make that pronouncement. Okay? So that you can say categorically that you've done due process, and by that due process, you've arrived at the point that that work is undeserving of the prize that you give. So that's a lesson that we all have to learn as prize administrators.
What becomes of a nation where, influencers are more respected than scholars, and can a democracy survive without its citizens reading deeply and starting meaningful conversations?
No, it cannot. It cannot. And I'm not assuming that in a country of 1 million persons, every person will be literate and every person will be reading. You don't have that kind of statistics anywhere. 100% readership, 100% literacy in any country. You don't have that. You do not have every person in the country. You can't have situations where every person in the country has a capacity to hold meaningful dialogue, okay, and take meaningful action. You can't have that because people have different competencies and abilities in the social spaces that they belong to. And so it becomes the responsibility of those who have the ability to read, to think, to speak, to push their nation in the direction that everyone can be proud of. And by that I'm saying that if we have to bring this conversation home, it is the responsibility of every educated Nigerian to put his education to good use. Every educated Nigerian owes Nigeria the responsibility to run a system that we all can be proud of. And this is what is going to shock you. I think there was a keynote speaker in an event in East Africa, and he said, the worst thieves in our politics are people who are educated. The worst thieves. When you hear that there is missing funds in government, and these funds are in billions and billions and billions, the people, if you check, those who are involved in the process, who sign the papers, who run the documents and all that, are educated people. So to what use have they put their education? How helpful is it? How helpful are they to us? How helpful is the education to the polity? So if you have a people who have more of the education of the head but not the education of the mind, who have a lot of head knowledge, and Nigeria has a lot of knowledgeable people. We have many knowledgeable people. I mean, Nigeria has many smart people. But Nigerians do not have enough education of the mind, because it is the education of the mind that makes you understand that you can take this 10 billion, but you're going to kill your country in the process. You can buy the biggest jeep, but you're going to drive on unsafe roads. You can buy the biggest jeep, but if you have health emergency, you will not have any health facility in your own country that has the capacity to take care of your health needs. It takes the education of the mind to make a people rise above primitive acquisition, primitive accumulation. If you have the education of the head alone, all you think about is what you can grab. You think about your own personal interests. You think about how to make your children better than every other person's child. Push them to Europe, push them to America, steal the kind of money that they cannot spend in 1,000 lifetimes and all that. You have all that, but those children belong to a place. And if that place is dysfunctional, the truth is that nobody is safe in a dysfunctional space, not even the architects of dysfunction. So we must come to a point where Nigerians will understand that we have many educated people, and the education that we have must be that can be transformational and put our country on the best basis of development. All right.